Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 2024 meeting of Portland Photographers Forum. I'd also like to welcome the new members. We have quite a few new members in the last few months, so welcome to all of you. Tonight we have a special program. We have a gallery night. We have representatives of 3 different Portland area galleries who are going to speak to us for about 30 minutes each. Meier is the exhibitions director at Blue Sky Gallery. Elizabeth Steinbaugh is with Aurora Gallery in Vancouver. And Mark Danley is with Gallery 114 in the Pearl District. And we'll get to them in a little bit, probably about 7:30. We just have a few announcements to go over, and then after that we will have the photo challenge slideshow. So next month's meeting, the November 18th Zoom meeting, will double as our annual members meeting. By our bylaws, we're required to have an annual members meeting once a year. So at next month's meeting, we'll introduce next month's candidates for board members and review this year's activities and have a financial report and answer any questions. A few days after the November meeting, we'll be sending out email ballots to currently paid members to approve next year's board members. So because we're going to have the annual meeting in November, we won't have a photo challenge in November because we're going to need the time. But we will have a November speaker who is Jackie Kramer. Jackie Kramer teaches courses about artistic flower photography. And she lives in Florida, but she was okay with doing it with the time change. She has taught workshops at Swan Island Dahlias for Lens Baby in the past. On December 2nd at the Print Share meeting, we will have our holiday print exchange party. So everyone is invited to participate. The idea is if you bring a print, you get to bring somebody else's print home. So generally, I would say 8 by 10 print, 11 by 14, 12 by 16, 12 by 18. It's not necessary to have anything huge. I think probably 8 by 10 is good. So if you bring a print, you'll bring someone else's print home. There will not be a Zoom meeting in December because we run into the holiday season. We usually don't have a December Zoom meeting, but then we'll resume our regular schedule in January with the Print Share meeting and the Zoom meeting on the 1st and 3rd Mondays. Let's see. Mark Fitzgerald has been working on the book project for this year, and the book is completed. And Mark, do you want to say something about the book and show your screen?
Yeah, so the book's all done. 43 photographers submitted work this time, so it's a really great collection. Bob is going to be sending out an email this week with a link to it, but I'll show you where you can find it if you want to. So I'm at blurb.com, which is where the book is sold. I'm going to scoot this down a little bit. If you click on bookstore, and then you just go in and let's go to bookstore. And then you type in Portland Photographers Forum in the search bar over here. That'll take you to all the different books that we have. And this year's book is Uncommon. So you can just come down here and you can see it. There's a short little preview where you can get a kind of a feel for the book, but the whole thing isn't there. You can just kind of see what it looks like. And if I back up out of here, this is where you can order it. Yeah, we're selling it for cost. We don't make any money off of this. It's just something to celebrate all of our different members. And this year, the book committee decided to give everybody or every photo its own page rather than grouping photos together. So the book is a little thicker than it's been in the past. It's 172 pages, but it's really nice. I got my copy. I'm very pleased with it. So if your photos are in the book, you might want to order a copy of that.
Okay, any questions for Mark about the book? Okay, thanks.
And
Thanks, Mark.
Bob,
I will be,
Bob, you might want to mute everybody.
yeah, I will be sending out. Okay, let me see.
If you go to the participant list, there should be a mute all button.
Before you mute, let me say thank you, Mark, for doing that book.
Well, thanks for helping review it, Johanna.
It looks great.
So Don, maybe you see that.
Yeah, that was the project. Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody.
I
There
am
we go.
unmuted.
Now you're unmuted. Sorry. Okay, and I will be
Okay, well,
sending
that's all
out
I had to say about the book unless someone has a question.
and I will be sending out an email announcement with the link later this week.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay. And Tim Dallas was going to make an announcement about the Blue Sky drawers. Tim, are you here? And would you unmute yourself?
Yeah, we've got people in the drawers through November, and I've got one slot filled for December through February, and I need someone else. I was going to do a little soliciting, but I just been really tied up with things and haven't done it. So if there is anybody out there that is interested in having anywhere from 6 to 10 of their prints in our community drawer at Blue Sky, you can let me know. You can just email me. It's timdallas48@gmail.com. And just let me know your interest, and I'll get in contact with you and give you some details. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for that.
Yeah, so we need another person for December, January, and February, and then we need people for all of next year, usually for
Yeah, and then
3
beyond
months at a
that,
time.
there's more interest. Yeah, we'll start scheduling people.
And one of our speakers tonight is C. Meier, who's the exhibitions director for the Blue Sky Gallery, and we'll get more details about the whole program at Blue Sky. Okay, well, I think those were all the announcements we had. So we'll go ahead and see if I can start the photo challenge slideshow. So this month's photo challenge was elements: earth, air, water, and fire, which means landscape photography, any way that you see it. And thank you to everybody who participated. I think we had 20 people submit photos. It takes about 14 and a half minutes. And we should have music, so can somebody let me know if there's not music?
No music, Bob.
Okay. Let's see. Screen share. Tell you what, I think I have to stop and start the screen share again. Screen share. Okay, I'll also share system audio. Okay, now we should have it. Okay, we'll try again.
voice of the sea, and they whisper as they touch the shore, come back to me, come back to me. Boat by boat upon the waves, all come to find the light in the darkness of the sky above. Come back to me, come back to me. Twilight comes to close the day and let the night break free, and from deep blue skies the heavens rise. Come back to me, come back to me. Come back to me, come back to Listen to the river, it echoes softly, drifting in my memories, the sound of summer. my heartbeat as I lie dreaming. Everywhere is whispering the sound of summer. The diamonds on the water are falling from the sun. The diamonds on the water
Thanks to everyone who participated. I am always pleased by the quality and variety and creativity of your photos. Next month in November, we will not have the photo challenge in lieu of having the members meeting and being able to get to our speaker by 7:30. So tonight's first speaker is C. Meier, who is the exhibitions director at Blue Sky Gallery. C, are you here? And Dawn, do you want to introduce C?
Yeah, I'm here, everyone. Thank you for having me.
I think, Dawn, are you there? Dawn, did you want to introduce C?
Dawn, you're muted.
All that effort. Okay.
If that's
All
the
right.
worst thing that happens
Back to
tonight,
the
we'll be
beginning.
fine. We'll be.
Hi, everyone. I'm very pleased to introduce you to C. Meier. C is a non-binary artist and curator based in Portland. As exhibitions director at Blue Sky, Oregon Center for the Photographic Arts, they have organized over 60 photographic exhibitions since 2021. Their own art practice explores materiality, reveling in the hybridization of processes, including drawing and photographic methods. They are especially interested in alternative and camera-less approaches to photography. C earned their MFA in photography from Columbia College Chicago and BFA in studio art from Pacific Lutheran University. I have seen some of C's work and is very impressive. So C, I'll let you take it over from here.
Thank you, Dawn. And thank you, everyone. I'm really happy to be here tonight, and I just really appreciate the invitation to meet with you all. And it's such an impressive group of photographers, and I recognize some faces from artists that have been in recently on the community wall. It was great to see your photos out of the drawers and on our walls for a little bit. So hopefully we can plan on doing that again in 2025. It would be really fun to do another mix up of your work, and maybe plan for like a theme or something. Could be fun, like what you just did on your scavenger hunt. So I'm going to keep an eye on the time. I've got a slideshow presentation that I'll share with you all, and maybe we can plan if people have questions. I'll try to get through all my topics, and then we can jump into questions if there's time left. Does that sound good?
Great. That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Well, again, thank you for having me here. My name is C. Meier. I'm the exhibitions director at Blue Sky, and I know many of you have been to the gallery, but hopefully after this presentation, we'll see all of you come down and come say hi to us. So real quick, I just wanted to put what I'm going to go over tonight, just so if you do have any burning questions, if I'm going to talk about something, you can have your question prepped. So I'll just do a little more of an intro of myself. Thanks, Dawn, for the nice intro. And then I'll talk a little bit about Blue Sky, our mission, our exhibitions and programs, and then membership. I know many of you might have some questions about that, as well as our Pacific Northwest Drawers program, your own community wall or community drawers program, and then submitting work to the main show and ways that we can keep in touch. So a little bit about me, as Dawn mentioned. So I grew up in Aloha, Oregon. I moved to Washington State to go to undergrad, where I got my BFA in studio art. That is where, well, actually in high school, if we back up, high school was where I took my very first darkroom class and loved it. And then went into art into my undergrad and took more darkroom, black and white and color darkroom, and then had my first taste at doing some all process things with Polaroids back then. And then I took a really long break between my undergrad and then trying out going to grad school. So it was a 13-year break, and then I moved to Chicago and went to Columbia College for my MFA there. Top photo here is me after this is work from my thesis show, and this is all photographic work except for the line drawings that I've drawn directly onto the wall. And while I was in grad school, I had the opportunity to work at the Museum of Contemporary Photography as a curatorial and collections assistant. And that job really gave me a lot of the skills that landed me then the job, my current position at Blue Sky, because I was helping with curation there, helping with installation, learned a lot of like install tricks, but also did a lot of work within their collection. The MOCP has over 16,000 photographic objects in their collection, and they do big shows. They do like four shows every year, but they're pretty large. As you can see in this photograph here is their main gallery in their lower gallery space, and this was actually a collection show, so they just like filled the wall with the work. That was a really formative experience for me, and when I graduated a couple months later, I actually was hired to be their collections manager. So I was collections manager for about 3 years until 2020, when I made a sort of a pandemic move back home. And that is what led me to Blue Sky. I joined Blue Sky's exhibitions committee before I was hired, just seeking, when I moved back, I didn't really know many people besides my family. And so getting involved with the exhibitions committee gave me kind of that sense of photo community, and then the position opened up, and that's what I've been doing. This is I had a little bit of fun with the animations on here, but this is some of my work, some recent work I did. So I work a lot with Polaroids, but I do cameraless work with the material. So I'm not actually using a Polaroid camera when I'm making this work, but instead kind of manipulating light and exposure times. And so that's been a very fun. Recently, I had a group show at 9 Gallery with this work, and you can check out more of my work, my personal work here at cmeier.art if you're interested in checking out more of what I do. But moving on to Blue Sky. So Blue Sky was founded in 1975, and by this is our kind of main front gallery. If you haven't been to our space yet, there's a lot of space. We have 2 main galleries. Our drawers program, we do have 9 Gallery, which is a separate collective that shows all kinds of work. And then we have our library, or resource library. So there's a lot going on, a lot to look at when you come and visit us. But just a real brief background about Blue Sky. So yeah, it was founded by 5 photographers here in Portland in 1975. And it's moved around to a couple different locations. I think the first iteration was in a very small space on Northwest 23rd, and then it moved down further into the Pearl for many years, and then eventually into our current space about 14-ish years ago. So it has a long history, and we've shown a lot of photography. I think we've had our 1,000th show last year. And we are celebrating our 50th anniversary next year. So we're excited to be actually doing some 50th anniversary programming next year, where we're going to bring back by decade some of the artists who've shown over the many years of Blue Sky's history. So keep your eyes out for that. This will be pretty cool. But our mission, if you didn't know, so Blue Sky is not a commercial gallery. We're actually a 501c3 nonprofit. And so we do have a mission, we have a member base. So our mission is to inspire and build community between contemporary photographic artists and our audiences through exhibitions, publications, and dialogue. And I thought I'd share, this was the very first Blue Sky exhibition. And we just passed our 49th birthday just a couple weeks ago. So who makes up the Blue Sky community? There's a lot of different people. So we do have our founders, and 2 of our founders are still very involved in the organization. They're on our board, they're on our exhibition committee. And so as a nonprofit, we do have a board of directors, and then there's staff. And so our staff is me, and I have 3 colleagues. So we're a small but mighty staff, and we're very busy, but we really enjoy working together. And then we have our members. So our members are really kind of one of the heart of the organization. That is one of the things that keeps us going. And so we love our members, and we have some different like member programs and specific. I'll get more into membership in a little bit. And then we also have a lot of volunteers. We have volunteers that sit at our front desk that help with lots of different projects. If we need, like, staff needs a hand, but they also are just welcomers, able to talk to folks that come in. And then also our exhibitions committee, it's the curatorial group that meets. We meet every week almost to review submissions for our main gallery. And those are volunteers who are members of Blue Sky. And if you're interested in joining that committee, it is open to any member of Blue Sky. So it's a pretty cool thing to get involved in if you want to be more involved in what's happening on what's getting put on the walls at Blue Sky. And then of course we have our artists who we love, and we have the artists that are international, national, local Portland artists have shown on our main walls. And then of course we have our other programs. But so we wouldn't be Blue Sky without all of these different community components. And if you're not familiar with our exhibitions, we do exhibitions and programs. So our main exhibitions are on our 2 main walls. We do shows almost every month, and usually it's two different artists, 2 solo shows, changes up every month. And we show openings are part of the Pearl's first Thursday schedule. So our openings are our first Thursday of every month, and usually 5 to 8. At least that's our fall and winter hours. During the summer, we usually stay open a little bit later. And we also offer artist talks every month, depending on the artist's availability. We hope that a lot of our artists can come out and visit and be here for their opening, and then also give talks in person. But we also will host those talks via Zoom if we have artists that are from Italy, Spain. We have one coming up who's in France. So they're kind of all over the place. But the nice thing is that the Zoom talks and the in-person talks are usually recorded. So if you're not able to join, we have them on our YouTube channel that you can reach through our website. And a couple of the other programs that we do, there's Members May, which is sort of our month that we celebrate our members, have like a party at the gallery. And then a little bit later in the summer, we host the Members Show, which is a digital show of members' photographic work. And then, of course, we have the Pacific Northwest Shores program, which I'll go into a little more detail in a little bit. But those are sort of some of our key programs and what we offer. Everything is free to visit the gallery. We don't have a admission fee. We ask for people, if they're not members or if they are members, to just give us a donation if they're wanting to do that. And but other than that, we really try to make as much of our programming, our calls, accessible to people, so that it's not money isn't a barrier for folks to be within community and to apply for our calls. That's something that's really important, because as an artist myself, I do find, the calls that are out there, I won't apply to something because I'm just like, I don't have $45 to maybe get into the show. So that's something that I find really special about Blue Sky. Yeah, and just like we just really we put a lot of hard work into making things as special for our members and visitors as best we can. The other way that you can stay in touch and like follow along, if you're like, how do I find out what's going on, is you can visit our website. And our website, you can see our current shows, find out information about that. But we also are working on getting almost like full archive of the 50 years onto our website, but it definitely goes back at least many years. I think it goes pretty far back, but it currently doesn't go all the way back. But you can see what we've shown in the past. I always try to have install shots done so that we have a record of like what the shows look like. And then we have a little upcoming exhibitions listed on our website, as well as ways that you can get involved in our events, membership, submissions, and I'll go through a little bit more of that and kind of walk you through our website too. And this is just an example of one of our current shows that was up in the summer. This is Christina E. Knipe. We also like to explore a lot of different methods and installations. So this show was all printed on vinyl. So it's actually a sticky, these are basically like giant stickers that are on the wall. And the cool thing about them is that the price point is more economical. If you want to go really big, like these prints, that would be a lot more money to print as an inkjet print. And we have a guy here in town who does these really well. So we've been doing that a little bit more, but we also do traditional framed work. We do work, like if you've been in for the current shows, you'll see a lot of different approaches to installation, even within one artist's project, which is pretty cool, just to see how, I don't know, expansive that you can make your show. But we also do traditional framed work as well. So it's kind of, what the artist who's showing is how they want to show their work. I work with all the artists directly to finalize their show, go through their sequence, help them with the curation. And so it's pretty fun because every artist is different. And so every show is going to be a little exciting for me to work towards. But this is that was our Gallery C, so 2 gallery spaces, and then this is a show that was in the late spring this year, and this is in our what we call Gallery AB. Both galleries have a lot of space, and the cool thing about the gallery in the back is that we have this wall here is a movable wall, so it's on a pin, and you can actually move this wall into 3 different configurations. So if you've come to see our shows and you're like, oh, this is, the wall folds in or the wall becomes 90 degrees. So it's kind of cool because it gives artists a lot to work with. And we also have projection back here, showing a little bit more video these days. Yeah, so I wanted to just go a little bit over membership and what membership benefits you can get if anyone is interested in becoming a member. If you're a current member and want to refresh, you can go to our website But yeah, as I mentioned, we are a nonprofit, and so our membership is really helps us keep going, and it's also a connector in the community, part of our mission, and is a tax deductible gift. And this does help us actually with keeping the gallery free to visitors, also our programming, and we give a fair amount of support to all of our artists that are showing on the main walls. And so we get a lot of that help, that financial help through membership, and then of course through a lot through grants. The way membership works is there's 4 levels, and so each level the sort of cost goes up, but it starts out with our champion. I think that's $50 per year, and then our book member, and then print and hero. And what I'll do is I'll go to our website and you guys can see a little bit more detail for each of these, and it's listed out. But other perks that you get along with membership is that we do have connections to local photo shops that give discounts. ProPhoto is one that we're working with a lot too right now to do sort of partnerships with workshops. We had a pretty cool workshop. We partnered with them with one of our drawers members who's really good at cyanotypes. And so she taught a cyanotype class at ProPhoto, because Blue Sky unfortunately doesn't have like workshop space or like classroom space to host like making classes, but we're doing some partnerships with places that do, which is pretty cool. So keep an eye out for more of those collabs coming up in the future. You can, as I also mentioned, if you're a member, you can join our exhibition committee. And that is the group again that reviews the submissions that come in. It's everyone gets a vote, and that's sort of how it works, sort of a democratic committee that reviews work, and then it's a majority vote, sort of gets the show vote. And then of course you can also submit to our member show, submit your work for that, and then the celebration. So those are just a couple of the perks that go along with membership. I wanted to real quick just pop out of here so I can show you the website. So I just wanted to show you really quickly. So this is sort of the main website. We have the exhibitions. You can check out what's going on with current. You can come here to past. You can go to submissions, find out more about our other programs. But in membership, you can see, and you can join just through the website. You can also join as a member by visiting us. But you can see, so here's the kind of list of what goes along with each category of member. And I'm not the person that handles membership. So if you have more specific questions, that is M. Fruhl, who's our gallery manager, who handles all the membership. And I've got his email at the end of the presentation for anyone who has questions. But so we got the book. The special thing about the book membership is that every year you get an artist book, and that book changes every year. And then the print level membership includes all of the perks from above, and then you also get a print every year, which is kind of, it's like a steal for that price to get. Like we had Sage Sawyer as one of our member prints this year. And it's gorgeous, and it's just like it'd be a really cool thing to have. And then the final one is Hero. So you can come back to this site, you can call us, you can email us, you can visit us if you have any other questions about membership. And pop back into, here we go. Okay. And this is just another example of one of our current show, or not a past show that we had this year. This is Ivan McClellan, who is a local photographer. And he also started the Black Rodeo that was here in June. And so we were able to schedule his show of the Black Rodeo artists, or all the Black Rodeo he's been photographing happened simultaneously when they hosted that event here in Portland, which was pretty cool. Okay, so this is probably something you all are keen to find out a little more about. Let me just do a time. Okay, we're good. So this is what, if you haven't been to Blue Sky, this is what the community drawers and our Pacific Northwest drawers area looks like. Your community drawer is over here. I can't remember which one you guys are, but you're just here. And then this 3 bank here is part of our Pacific Northwest drawers program. And so just a real quick overview on your community drawer. So you guys have had a drawer you guys are actually the best at, you do such a good job at organizing and scheduling. I feel like some of our drawers just remain dormant and they don't refresh for like years. And I think you guys are really, like, we really appreciate y'all for keeping on top of it. And but it's a really cool opportunity to showcase your own artist prints within the drawers. And if you're not familiar with like the sizes, they fit up to a 20 by 24 final. Like if you have your work matted, you don't have to mat the work, but if it's matted, it just needs to be 20 by 24 inches or under. It can be just a straight print. Usually it's a good idea to put some kind of a backing and like a sleeve over your print to keep it protected from getting dirt and oils, because the fun thing about the drawers, all of our drawers, is that they're meant to be open. The prints are meant to be handled and picked up and looked through by visitors. But yeah, as I said, you all have been doing a really great job of organizing, having a schedule, maintaining your drawer really well. Just a couple of things that we always like to tell our artists, either in the drawers, sorry you guys, go back, if you're in a community drawer, or even if you're in the drawers program, a great thing to do for each of your prints is to always have it labeled on the back with your contact information, your name, if it's for sale, the price, how you get in touch with someone to sell, and then of course artwork description. And that way, if somebody comes up to the front desk and it asks about a print, they can easily just look at the back and say, here's who you should contact, because all the sales and all the information just goes directly through the artist or you guys, but we will help kind of people walk them through that. But that's one of my biggest advice, is just to have your work really well labeled. And yeah, just check our hours. We're happy to have you guys come in when to do your switch out. Just make sure we're open. Our public hours are Wednesday, Saturday, 12 to 5. Or you can email us ahead and just give us a heads up. Let us know you're coming so that we know you're there, and make sure that someone's there, because sometimes we don't come in until right before we open. Okay, and then our biggest program that's not on our main walls is our Pacific Northwest Drawers program. And we actually just opened the call for this next iteration for 2025. And that call is open until December 18th. So you guys have a little, like 2 months-ish to submit to that. So the Drawers program is kind of what you saw in that picture. Artists submit 10 images from one body of work, and the call is juried every year by a different juror. This image with the bunnies, actually, we used for the promo for this year, and it sold the very next day because somebody saw this and they loved it. So that was really a cute thing. But just a quick rundown here of kind of what the drawers are about. They've been doing the drawers program since 2007, and it's specifically for Northwest photographic artists. And Northwest is kind of a large term, because as you can see, we consider Northwest to be Alaska, British Columbia, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and Montana. So I would say the majority of the artists that tend to submit are Oregon-based, Washington-based, and then we've been trying to get a little more from our Montana, Idaho, Alaska photographers. So if you know anyone who you think you'd love to see their work in the drawers, definitely share this call. And of course, all of you, if you have work that you're excited to submit, please do. So as I mentioned, it's 10 prints from one series. This year we invited Portland local Julia Dolan, who is our photography curator at PAM. If you're familiar with her, she's going to be the juror this year. Last year it was Aline Smithson, who's through the Lens Scratch website. Other times we had, photo curators or other museum curators. So it's really exciting. I would say one of the advantages, one of the cool things just to apply is that you're getting your work in front of someone who's really deeply in the professional field of contemporary photography. It has a pretty good reputation. So it is, I'd say, a pretty big honor to get selected for the drawers. It's a great thing to have on your artist CV. It's a really great way to get your work out there, not only in the physical print, but we do a lot of work to get the digital images shared through our social media and on our website. And all of that work is like always on the website. Even after the year that you're in your drawer, you can still go back and look for previous years of the drawers. And it's in the drawers for a full year. And that's what's really cool is that, our main exhibitions are up for only a month, but with the drawers program is that you have your work in there for a very long time. And so you're able to, hopefully people come and see the work. We feature the work on our community walls throughout the year. We also have print walks. So we have a print walk coming up on November 16th. And so artists from the drawers will be at the gallery and will be tabling with their prints and able to sell prints there, talk to people, have conversations. It's just a really nice time for people to connect, talk about photography, learn more about each other, and try to make some sales. And actually the really kind of cool thing about the drawers program is that that's where we make most of our sales in the gallery. I mean, work tends to be for sale on the main walls, but that price point tends to be a lot higher. And so it's a good opportunity for artists to sell their work. So if you guys have questions about how to submit your work, we are actually hosting a Zoom FAQ in November, on November 21st at 6 p.m. And you can register through our website. So that we did for the first time last year, and people said it was so helpful because sometimes we use the cafe submission website, and it can be a little tricky to figure out how to work it if you're not familiar with it. So we go kind of through how to submit and are always available to help answer questions. And I'll try to run through how to submit your work. So then the other question is, how do you submit work for the main wall? So that is an online submission you can find through our website. And basically, call is open all year round. It's free to submit. It's reviewed by our exhibitions committee. We look at everything that comes in as a group. It gets voted on. And they usually want to see around 15 to 30 images for one project with an artist statement. Artist statements don't have to be these long thesis essays. They could be a paragraph. It could be, kind of a paragraph. It can be longer. So it doesn't have to be academic. I think just a statement that has clarity and is concise and really doesn't speak for the work, but it can help support what the work is about, is usually what the committee is looking for. And then just some advice would just be, having a really strong edit of your sequence that you submit, having some intentionality in the order that you put your work in how you would visualize that on the walls is something to always think about when you're submitting your work. And these are ways you can get a hold of us. So I'm C, and then we have M. Proul, who's our gallery manager, Yuyang Zhang, who's our communications manager, and Kristen Solomon, who's our executive director. And we're on Instagram as well. And these are emails that you can catch us at with your specific questions, if you have any. I know we hit about 30 minutes there, but if there's a little time for any questions, I'm happy to answer. And just real quick, here's the website. This is where you go, submissions. And then we have a couple different ways that you can show work at Blue Sky. So if you're interested in the main walls, you go to gallery exhibitions. There's also, this is where you go to apply for the drawers. I didn't talk too much about the no strings, but that's something that Don, I'm sure you could have a little TED talk on that in another one of your groups, but that's also a really cool way to get your work up on the wall. And that's pretty easy as well. And then this is some information about the members show. So there you go. Yeah, and also feel free if you have further questions to reach out to me at any time.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. That was very complete and informative and nicely done. Do we have questions for C? Questions or
Yeah.
comments?
Yeah, this is Giannis, and I have a couple of questions that are kind of related. The first one is, see, what kind of thoughts, like when you're putting up an exhibit, what kind of thoughts do you have about sequencing and like what goes together with other things? Like what kind of thoughts do you have about that? And then you mentioned that you had learned some installation or install tricks in the gallery, and that probably kind of relates to the sequencing.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I mean, sequencing can be, you know, it's kind of different from sequencing if you're making a photo book. I mean, it can be the similar approach. You know, you want to kind of have a connection between the, you know, the next image to the next image. Sometimes I would say when you're thinking about an installation on a wall, it's also thinking about size and placement. And if you're, you know, if you're having inline kind of show at just your center height, or if you're doing something kind of like what Ryan has done in our current show, where you have work that's, you know, almost near the floor and up, and it's all kind of connected. And so sometimes it's just the visual, you know, the lines that are coming through each image. There's maybe, if you're having like a group of pieces together, what sort of is connecting that image. Maybe it's a visual thing that's happening in the piece. Sometimes it's more about like when you're walking into the gallery, what is your first image that's really bam, you know, you feel like it's kind of that one's really gonna get you, draw you in. Like, do you have a strong image to kind of start it out, to draw you in, and then work that can kind of move? It's almost like, you know, music in a way. It's kind of hard to like it feels very heady right now, just, you know, talking about it without having examples. But yeah, I would say what I like to do is I actually like to make what I call little chiclets. So make, like, if you print out mini versions of your work, I print those out and I cut them up. So when I'm thinking about an exhibition, I'm helping one of the artists, I will print out their work, cut them up individual, because I'm a very tactile visual person. I don't like doing things so much on the screen. And I'll just start laying them out and then moving things around, and then having like, this line is this wall, and this line over here is this wall, and just start to kind of play. And I feel like I'll do that, and I'll have a couple iterations. And that's, for me, is the way that I really am able to get a good sequence, is like, get it out onto your desk and like start moving some stuff around. Because that, I think on the computer, it's a lot harder to get that cohesive sense. So that's a trick that I really like. And as far as like installation tricks, it's like, one thing that I feel like I use a lot in our installs at Blue Sky is a laser level. And that has changed my life. Like having a tripod with a laser level that you can visually guide instead of having to do too much tape measuring. And that has really been a game changer as far as getting installs done. And because we have a very quick turnaround with our exhibitions, because we do show monthly. We usually install our shows in a night. Like our committee members come and help, but like I'm there for like 11 hours and then more like the next day doing install. And so ways that you can like speed up hanging, like the laser level is huge. The other things that I've learned to say is like good enough. Like it's like once you move that laser level, I'm the only one who's going to be looking at that being like, it's just a little off, but I'm like, no one's gonna know. So it's sort of, and I'm a Virgo, I get really like into the details and like want things to be a certain way. And I've had to learn to kind of just be like, it's okay, it's fine, move on. But yeah, there's lots of different techniques for install. It's again, like as far as materials, you have your classic wire frame. A cleat is one of my favorite things, a French cleat. It's just very clean and very simple to install. We've also shown work with just magnets on work. So the print itself isn't glazed. It doesn't have any glass on it, but it's just the paper, boom, boom, with some magnets. We do pins. We do the vinyl. So yeah, if you're curious about different ways of like printing, installing, start coming to our shows and looking at really looking at how we're putting it up, because it's really, there's lots of ways you can do it. As I know, framing can be really expensive. So there's definitely ways that you can economically have a really great looking show, but you don't have to spend all that money.
Great. Do we have, is there one more question? I think we have time for one more question.
Well, I hate to hog the whole thing, but one other maybe about like the drawers, like in the community drawers, how would you recommend people promote, get people to come in and look at the work? And then maybe, is there a suggestion for how to get feedback? Like even like somebody that pulls open the drawer, flips through, like your 10 prints or whatever, and then they've left their, McDonald's grease fingerprints on on the print, and that's all the feedback you've got.
Right. Yeah. Well, the one thing I would highly recommend is like to avoid the McDonald's grease is to definitely put your work in a plastic sleeve. And you can find plastic sleeves like that at Blick. If you're curious what that looks like, feel free to pop in and go through the drawers. But yeah, that's a really good question. I would say, in today's age, so much is promoted digitally. So I'd say whatever your communities are, through Facebook, through Instagram, through your emails, that if you do like a email update sent out to your people, maybe once a month or maybe it's a quarter, that you're like, what am I up to? Oh, I got this work, my work's in the drawer at Blue Sky. You could also like invite people to come and meet you there and have, like on a Saturday, come grab coffee with me and let's get some of our members together and have a little critique session. I mean, if folks are interested in that during our open hours, we'd be happy to have you guys in our library. I think having the community wall opportunity is a really great way to do that, because then you have kind of a show in our library. You can promote that through different channels, but then also maybe have it as an event. It doesn't have to necessarily coincide with our first Thursday, but you could plan like everyone come, invite your friends, invite all your people, come to first Thursday, and we'll have the opening of our community wall show. So yeah, so if folks want to do that again, just get in touch with us and we'll look at our calendar and we'll block that off for you all to plan to do that again. And yeah, but I mean, I think as far as like getting feedback from just someone that's coming through when you're not there, you could put something in the drawer that says like a little notebook. We had a little notebook at my show at 9 Gallery that just people could write comments in. So having a little spiral notebook in the drawer with a pen or something that says, it's not like a guest book, but like a place that you could maybe send some feedback. You could also, you could have your contact information and say, love to hear what you think, so I think those are a couple ways you could do that.
Thank you.
For sure.
Well, see, thanks very much for speaking to us tonight.
Yeah, you're real welcome. Thanks again for having me. And The Enya music really got me a little calmer. I was feeling a little nervous. And so that was really cool to see everyone's work too.
Always helps to keep
Yeah,
it
we
calm.
really encourage you all to come down. We'd love to see your work submitted in the drawers this year. I would say in the past couple of years, we've gotten about 200 to 250 submissions, and it's 60 artists are selected. So it's, they do kind of have to cut a lot of submissions out. And I would say just with that, it's always worth, it's free to submit. If you didn't get selected last year, it's a different juror. Jurors have different tastes. So free to submit, just like I would say submit and see what happens. And because every year is a little different. And it's also just a good experience to learn, the ins and outs of having to submit work if you're not familiar with that too. Because yeah, it's a good skill.
Well, see, thank you very much.
Sure.
And we will move ahead. Our next speaker tonight is Elizabeth Steinbaugh, who is with Aurora Gallery in Vancouver. And Elizabeth, are you here? Elizabeth, if you're here, you'll probably need to unmute yourself.
There we go. How's that?
That's perfect. We can see
Okay,
you and
good.
hear you. And Kathy Rady, were you going to introduce Elizabeth? And Kathy, if you're here, you need to unmute yourself also.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Johanna.
Yes. Hi, Joanna. How are you?
Hi, Kathy. Kathy, are you here? She was here earlier.
She's
Talking
here, but it
away.
looks like she's muted.
Yeah, Kathy, you need to unmute yourself down in the left lower corner. Or hold down your space bar.
There we go.
Okay, we got you. Thank you.
Sorry. My mouse wasn't working.
Oh,
Panic. Welcome, everybody. I have the honor to introduce Elizabeth Steinbaugh, owner of the Aurora Gallery. And that gallery is located on Main Street in downtown Vancouver. Elizabeth Gallery represents over 60 local and established artists in the greater Pacific Northwest. Elizabeth has been a gallery owner for 20 years, and this year she was awarded the best gallery in Clark County by the Columbian newspaper. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, I want to thank you for being here and for sharing your time and your knowledge.
Thank you, Kathy. That's true. We are located in downtown Vancouver on Main Street. We're a small local gallery featuring the art of all local artists in the Clark County area, some in Portland. Our hours are Monday through Friday from 10 to 5:30 and on Saturday 10 to 4. I started the gallery as a means for self-employment because I had been working in the downtown Portland galleries for so many years. I needed to work in my own community. I wanted to work and promote artists in my own community and provide framing for them. So our exhibits at Aurora Gallery rotate every month. We do participate in a First Friday art walk. We have over 60 artists that we represent at Aurora Gallery, and they all take turns scheduling monthly shows. However, in 2024, Main Street galleries were proposed a problem about the upcoming construction on Main Street. So we have a problem that we have to deal with in the next few months. We were told initially spring of 2024, and we never scheduled any shows for 2024, believing that we would be shut down sporadically in 2024. But unfortunately, they weren't able to find a contractor to do the Main Street construction, so we are on hold. We're not actually scheduling many shows after March or April of 2025 because of the Main Street construction. But we do participate in the monthly art walk on the first Fridays. Like I said, we rotate our shows monthly. Most of the artwork in the gallery that's presented for a show is in the front gallery. And it's a small gallery, a small community gallery. We can usually hang about 15 pieces in the front room. We do schedule and rotate the scheduled show to the hallway for a couple months. So the artwork is available to see for 3 or 4 months. It's a good way to do it because in Vancouver, sometimes things move a little slowly. And when you don't have a lot of sales of the gallery show, the month of the show, then we can schedule it for hanging in the hallway for a couple more months. Let's see. Like I said, we have over 60 artists. It's a 60-40 split. If you'd like to join the gallery, you can certainly email us and get put on our list. We will contact you when we have shows appropriate for your artwork. PPF members interested in showing at the gallery can call us and give their contact information, and we will send them information about when shows will be juried. We only have one photography show a year, but this is good for you to know now because it's coming up in February. And so you'll need to pick images to submit for that. Usually I have an assistant, Anna. Some of you have met her. Anna Anderson's been with me for a year, and she helps me jury the shows and hang the front gallery every month. She's also a good framing assistant. She's been framing for a few years, and that is very helpful because we do have a busy frame shop. Our gallery is 50% art and 50% framing. There's a nice shot of the art walk and the front of our gallery. So here's the framing section of my presentation. Prices, we have prices designed for artists. We try to provide a signature look for our artists, and we do provide restoration services. Current and upcoming exhibits to the gallery would be, this month we're featuring Bev Joswick, who is a local artist, who is a watercolor artist, and she also works in acrylics. The next show that's coming up is Barbara Skutnik. She is a mixed media artist who will have about 9 pieces in the next month's show coming up in November. And then we have our open show in December and January. It's our group show where all the artists in the gallery are welcome to provide a piece for us for our show. Let's see, what else can I tell you about the showing? And let me mention again, PPF members who are interested in showing at the gallery can certainly send their information by email to the gallery, and we'll be glad to send you a schedule of when your artwork may be provided in a show. So let's talk a little bit more about the framing, which is really a lot of our business. We have a very busy frame shop, and it keeps Anna and I busy full-time. We have a part-time framer that comes in 1 night a week and he builds our frames, but this is real work that happens in the gallery behind the scenes. And I've been framing for 42 years, since 1982. Anna is my assistant in the frame shop, and she helps me with most of the framing. We provide artist services, design services. We provide installations. We have corporate collections. We have a couple corporate clients that we provide artwork for their collections. And we have art and frame restoration too. Let's see. We're a busy gallery for sure. And I am relatively low tech. So this is a new experience for me giving a talk like this to you. And I was wondering if anybody had any questions so far about what we do at Aurora Gallery.
I have a question, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
How would a PPF members go about applying for that or submitting for the photography show? And what would the route be and what's the deadline?
Yeah, so our annual show, our photography show, we usually work a couple months ahead. So all those interested in participating in the photography show in February of 2025 should contact the gallery with their contact information and email so that we can email you dates, important dates for artwork to be sent to the gallery for consideration for the show. That can be done in many ways. You can send a digital file through the email, that's fine. Or you can bring the work in. It should be gallery ready when you bring it in. And I, like I said, we have a very small operation. Anna and I will be happy to get the show juried in a timely manner so everybody knows dates and times for that show. But it opens on the first Friday in February of 2025, and it might certainly be the last show we have in 2025 because of our upcoming road construction. So we're trying not to book shows during the construction.
So Elizabeth, the first thing one needs to do is to email you to ask for the details of how to submit for.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is that email? Maybe you need to tell everybody that email.
AuroraGallery@msn.com. You can find all the information on our website, which is Aurora Gallery Online, and our phone number. Also, feel free to call us. We'll be glad to help you with information on where you can send your work.
Thank you.
And I might just mention that Johanna and Pat Rose and Kathy Rady had their pictures in an exhibition. I think it was last January.
Yes, that's correct.
And I think Mike Osborne has shown some of his work there also.
Yes, that's correct.
Mike
Other
had
questions?
Mike had a big show.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Johanna.
I just wanted to say Mike's was a
Elizabeth, I had a
featured show.
question. You talked about restoration.
Yes.
Is it digital restoration or conservatorship?
Conservatorship. We have a fine art and frame restoration employee, and she does mostly fine art.
Well, what about photography?
We don't have a photography restoration service anymore. We might have that posted on our website, but we don't. We refer it out to a couple other people.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions?
I would just add that the gallery is really very nicely organized, and it shows people's work beautifully. And there's also a lot there. It's a lot to see. You have lots of interesting people showing in your gallery, and I enjoy it every time I go in.
Thank you. We pride ourselves on providing original, one-of-a-kind art to the public, and we try to have something for everyone. I think we're the place to go for authentic local art. We have original art, pottery, jewelry, glass, and furniture. We do custom framing, and like I said, our frame shop is very busy. We have had art classes and workshops in the past. We have not scheduled anything since COVID, and we need to get that up and running again. Artist services and framing. We have commercial framing for your business. We have a frequent framer program and fundraising products for your nonprofit as well.
And
Any other questions or comments?
yeah, I have a comment. Elizabeth, don't you do some of the, don't you have like some kind of contract with the hospitals or medical centers for photographs? or
Actually,
our
no,
work?
I don't have a contract with them. We do a lot of framing for them. We have 2 corporate clients that buy local photography. Some of you know that. Some of you have submitted photography images for consideration. We do a lot of framing for Peace Health. We do framing for Vancouver Clinic. And let's see, we have a corporate client in Longview, a clinic in Longview, as well as 2 in Vancouver, privately owned clinics.
Any other questions or comments for Elizabeth? Well, Elizabeth, thanks for coming to speak to PPF tonight.
Well, thank you for having me.
I think maybe this will generate some interest, and hopefully we get hopefully we get a few people to submit some of their work. If people want to submit work for the February photography show, how many pieces would they usually like?
We do 3.
3, okay.
Yeah, 3 images, and you might be asked to bring in 1. And we put 1 on the wall, and we try to have a backup in case 1 sells, so that we can put your work back up on the wall.
Well, selling would be a good problem to have.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for coming and talking with us
Well, thank
tonight.
you for having me. I invite all of you to come visit the gallery if you have a chance. Again, we're in downtown Vancouver on Main Street, 1004 Main Street. Or you can reach out to us by email or by telephone, and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Great,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Elizabeth. Our third speaker tonight is Mark Danley, who is a member of Portland Photographers Forum. And Mark, are you here?
I am indeed here.
Okay, and I'm going to introduce Mark. Mark first became interested in photography while attending college in the early 1970s, taking several courses in composition and darkroom techniques. Many years later, after raising his kids and paying his mortgage, he shifted to digital photography and rekindled the joy that he felt back in his darkroom days. In his work, Mark seeks to produce clear, well-balanced, and purposeful images. Mark is currently working on a project to showcase small businesses and the people who run them. And Mark did show some of these works from some Portland area businesses at the print share a couple months back. Other areas of focus are travel and street photography, and he has traveled to places as diverse as India, Latvia, Bolivia, Germany, Norway, and Sierra Leone, and he is currently planning his 4th trip to Japan. Mark is a semi-retired mediator who has lived in Portland for over 40 years. He has had his work shown in a number of galleries, including twice in the Pacific Northwest Drawers at Blue Sky. And he helps manage Gallery 114, which is a small independent art gallery in the Pearl District, which is the focus of his comments tonight. Mark, thanks very much. I'm glad you were available to talk to us tonight.
Yeah, I hope you're glad that I did this after I'm done. So let's launch into it. I really appreciate the invitation. And as was said, let's see if I can get the screen share up.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, is that?
Yeah, we
able to see it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we see it.
All right, so let me start playing this. So we're talking about Gallery 114, and I want to go over some basics about where the gallery is and how it operates. I welcome all the questions that you may have as we go or at the end. It doesn't really matter. I've been a member of Gallery 114 about 5.5 years. I'm currently the chairman, but I'm actually transitioning into another role in the next week or two. So I'll be the treasurer after a few more days. As some of you know, I do sometimes show up at the Portland Photographers Forum print share. So it's really been fun to interact with you. I'm actually hoping I can encourage some of you to consider joining Gallery 114 because I think it's a really good deal, and particularly if you're in a certain frame of reference, which we'll get into in a minute. First, where Gallery 114 is in the Pearl District. It's on Gleason. For those of you who are familiar with the Pearl District, it's immediately across the street from Blick Art Supplies. And it's a small gallery. This is the street view of it. It's actually down in a kind of a half level, almost like a half basement. It's not a storefront, which is probably one of the few disadvantages of the gallery itself, but it's a really nice space. This just shows one of the shows that we've had fairly recently. And as you'll see, we're not exclusively a photography gallery, which I think has some real benefits, particularly for photographers. And I'll get into that in a minute. This is another shot of the gallery itself. First, there's actually two parts of the gallery, what we call the north or front gallery and the south or back gallery. This is a diagram of the gallery itself, and it gives some of the dimensions. So it's actually a decent sized space. And I have had two shows in the entire gallery, and I'll tell you, it is very difficult to fill a gallery this size with photographs. We're actually changing the way that we're configuring our galleries for shows, which I'll get into in just a minute. But it's actually a very nice space for photography. The total size is about almost 900 square feet. And the total wall space is about 140 lineal feet. So you can get some sense of how much space we had to deal with. The North Gallery, which is where most of our shows are going to be by the members, is about 650 square feet or 90 lineal feet. And then we have the South Gallery, which we're going to be doing mostly group shows in, and I'll get to some of that in a minute. So this shows the north or the front gallery. This shows the main door on the left. And another shot of the main gallery. And then this is a shot of the back gallery or the South Gallery. So let's go over some of the parameters of it. We're a mutual benefit corporation, a nonprofit. We're not a 501c3, so we don't have nonprofit status from the IRS standpoint, which is very different than Blue Sky had talked about earlier. And what mutual benefit means is we actually exist for the benefit of our members. It's a little bit like a trade organization, but in this case, the trade is for artists. It's been operating since 1990. I don't know a lot about its history. I know it moved once. The reason why it was called Gallery 114, it was actually 114 Somewhere Street in the Pearl District, and I'm not sure exactly when it moved to its present location. My understanding was it was actually founded by art teachers who wanted to have a place to show their work, because for those of you who've been art teachers, my wife is an art teacher, you often don't have a lot of time or opportunity to show your own work. You're spending a lot of your time basically helping other people do their work. We currently have 14 members, and our general maximum we like to manage toward is 18. So we're actually down a few members. We actually had 2 members recently, and you'll appreciate this. They moved to Asheville, North Carolina about a month and a half ago. Their timing could not have been worse. But anyway, because of them and a couple of other folks that have moved on, we're actually seeking some new people. We have painters, sculptors, watercolorists, and we have 2 photographers. The other photographer besides me is John Gottschall, and he is the photography teacher at a high school in Beaverton. Some of the basics about how we operate. We're open Thursday through Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m. And our shows run approximately 1 month, starting with first Thursday. And the month, sometimes it's 3.5 weeks. Sometimes it's actually longer than 4 weeks. It just depends on how the calendar falls. We're a member of the Portland Art Dealers Association, which is actually in its way a fairly big deal, in the sense that there's a lot of advertising and attention that's being placed on the organizations that are members of PATA. Now, this is one page from the PATA website, and it literally put Gallery 114 on the map, so you can see some other galleries you may be familiar with: Blackfish, Contemporary Art Gallery, Russo Lee, and so forth. Waterstone, which is also another membership gallery. And we're not that far from Blue Sky. Blue Sky is directly east of us by, I think, 6 blocks. We host both solo and group shows, and the solo shows are primarily organized by the members that belong to the gallery. And group shows can either be other gallery members, or we have actually one juried show every year from people in the public. We're basically owned and operated and run by the members, by the 14 members that we have right now. And so we'd be considered an artist cooperative. We also have one juried non-member show every year, either in January or February. And we recently stopped having applications from all over the United States, and we're now only taking applications from local artists. And there were 2 reasons for that. One is it makes it a lot easier for us to get the art, both get the art from the artist and also return the art. And more importantly, it brings a lot of local people into the gallery, because if you're in a show, you're going to be bringing your friends in, for example. And so it really has increased the number of visitations into our gallery. A couple of parameters or things that I think important to note about how we operate. All of our members can show in any gallery. We actually encourage that. Now, a lot of times when you belong to a gallery, they want you to either curtail your showing in other places, or they actually take some of the commission that you might, they actually cut a commission from the gallery that you're actually getting in, and we don't do any of that. So if you're in our gallery, you can show anywhere you want, and a lot of our members take full advantage of that. When you sell work in our gallery, we take a 20% commission from your work, and if you happen to be a non-member showing in our gallery, we take 35%. And for those of you who have been showing in galleries, that's actually a very low rate of commission, and I think really helps us if we want to sell our work. Members can have a solo show approximately every 12 to 16 months, and then we're organizing it so each of us can be in a member show once or twice a year. So we can have maybe 2 or 3 pieces in a member show, plus we can have a solo show. And for me, this is one of the great advantages of it, because when I'm having my solo show, which I'll get into how I manage that in a minute, it really allows me to put together a body of work and show it in the way that I'd like it to be shown. And I have complete control over how I show my work, even though I can get some help with the other gallery members, how I want to show it, how I want to hang it, all of those decisions I make myself. We can also have guest artists at our discretion. My current show that I'm working on, I'm actually working with another photographer, and she and I will be putting on another show in June of this coming year. We had a show in in March of this year. And it's really been fun to work with another photographer, and so that, our work is actually on the same vein, in the sense that we're on the same project. As far as editorial hurdles, you get to show, if you're a member, what you want to do. You can price your work however you wish. You can have it all non for sale. You can sell it if you want to. And this is very different. If I apply to another gallery, like if I want to get into Blue Sky, which is a great gallery, they're going to decide what they can take and what they don't want to take, which is perfectly acceptable. If I want to put a show in Gallery 114, I make those decisions. As I said, we have no pressure to sell our work. It's entirely up to us. And I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about why that's important for me. Now, this is one of my images. I did a show of homeless people a couple of years ago. And I don't know about you, but I don't think too many people want to have a picture of a homeless guy on their living room wall. But it was important for me to have a body of work that showed what life in the streets of Portland are like. And Gallery 114 gives me the place that I can make that presentation. And I don't have to worry about whether I want to sell it or not. Now, everybody is different. Some people want to get the money from their work, and that's perfectly fine. This is another example. Bob had mentioned that I had shown some work from my current project, which is showcasing small businesses in Portland. And this is a haberdasher in Southeast Portland, a really interesting guy named John Fish. So that project has allowed me to get to know some really interesting people in the Portland area, get to know how they do their work, and showing the work, the examples of this kind of thing is not really a commercial venture. It's more of a work of art, and it's more of a work of curating the kind of activities that are important in the city of Portland. Another example, this is one of our artists. Now he's the only one of our members by the name of Don Dalke. And Don is a very successful artist in his own right. He is represented by about 5 art galleries in Hawaii, in the Virgin Islands, in Mexico, and in California. And he makes a lot of money on his art. But he doesn't particularly enjoy his artwork that sells. So he's a member of Gallery 114, so he can show the things that he just enjoys doing for the fun of it. And so for him, it releases him from having to really focus on sales. A couple of other things about our gallery. If you're a member, we have a generous sabbatical or leave policy, 12 months for medical reasons, including for family if you have a family member that's sick, or 6 months for personal reasons. And we can extend that almost indefinitely for the right reason. We also have a monthly art talk. My wife actually manages that art talk, where members get together and talk about art. And I wanted to suggest that this is in some ways the most interesting thing for photographers. We have a lot of opportunity to talk to other photographers, and there's nothing wrong with that. I enjoy the print shares that I have at Portland Photographers Forum. I'm involved in a couple of critique groups, and we can nerd out on photography, and it's really fun to talk with other photographers. It's also really good to listen to what other people have to say about art and to learn about art from different perspectives. It's actually helped me a lot in terms of understanding about composition, about color, about form, about shape, about line. All the elements of design are part of the art talk that we have once a month. And my wife this is one of her pieces, and she is the one that gives the art talk. And like I said, she's been an art teacher for most of her adult life. And so it becomes a very rich experience where we can all share our own work. We can talk about the work of others. And it's a very supportive environment in which we can have those conversations. And I wanted to underscore that the camaraderie, the support that we give each other is really an amazing experience. And the support is personal, but it's also helping us prep shows, hang shows, take shows down, curate shows, all the things that go into running a gallery. You've got, 12, 13, 14 people that are there to help make that happen. And it has been for me a very great source of inspiration. As I said, nothing wrong with talking to photographers, but it's really good to mix with people that have a very different perspective on the world. One example of the inspiration that I found, this is a piece of art from one of our members named Ruth Ross. Ruth Ross was the cover design director for Random House Publishing in New York for many years. And she's now a Gallery 114 member. She's retired. She's in her early 80s. This is a picture of Ethel Rosenberg. Her parents were actually friends of the Rosenbergs. You may be familiar with that history. And so she did an exhibit about her relationship of her family with the Rosenbergs. And this is the kind of people that we have that we're interacting with at our gallery. And she is one of the most inspirational people that I have ever met. Now I'll get to the fine print about what you do if you're a member. You have to sit at the gallery. Since we don't have employees, we are the employees, 2 or 3 times a month for 2.5 hours each time. And so that's to open the gallery up, welcome visitors, etc. We also must attend a gallery meeting once a month, and those now are in person. During COVID, we were doing them all in Zoom. And that's where we talk about the business of running the meeting or running the gallery, when we're going to open, how we're going to open, how we're going to get equipment, all those things that have to be done to run a gallery. We also have an annual meeting that's typically where we talk about structuring the gallery for the coming year, how we're going to raise funds. We're going to make whatever changes we have in scheduling. And also in the roles that we take as individual members. So each of us are required to have an extra duty. I'm the chairman, as I mentioned. I'm going to soon be the treasurer. We have people that do social media, graphics, exhibits, and so forth. So everybody is expected to chip in some other way. And we have an initiation fee of $150 if you are invited to join, and $100 a month membership fee. Now I wanted to drill down in that a little bit. This is my Lightroom page, and as you can see on the far left, I have 42,000 images. Okay, if I don't have a place to show my work, it's just going to keep piling up on my Lightroom desktop, right? And that's wonderful. But when I think about what I put into my photography, I have maybe $5,000 to $10,000 in equipment. I rent a studio space for $225 a month. I pay Lightroom yearly fees. I don't even know what those are anymore. I go on trips. Half of my trips are focused on photography. I'm going to Japan in a few days. That's going to cost me $7,000 or $8,000. I add that all up. I am spending a lot of money on photography. To me, an extra $100 a month that allows me to actually have a place to show my work is a great asset. I wanted to talk a little bit about the shows that we have. The current show is mostly a sculpture. It's kind of interesting. So I just have a couple examples of pieces in this particular show. The member that is sponsoring this show is herself a sculptor, and she doesn't have one piece in the show itself. So she has given up her entire month to allow other people to come in and show their work, which is also something that we do. So if we want to offer guest artists to show what they have to do, what they've been doing, we allow that. We actually encourage that. So another example of the piece that's up in the gallery right now. In November, one of our members, Sally Finch, who's essentially a watercolorist, is having a guest artist, Owen Premier. I don't know his work. They're going to be in the front gallery, and two of our members, Zach Bannock and Michael Spence, are both painters, and they're going to be in the back gallery. They're brand new members. Now, this is one of Sally Finch's pieces, and it at first glance kind of looks a little strange. This is actually hand-done watercolor, and what she does is she actually takes readings of weather and then plots them out on a graph form so you can see patterns in weather and climate in one piece. Not exactly my thing, but it's a very interesting thing to contemplate. This is Zach Bannock's work, one of our new members. He combines photography with drawing and other art forms. He makes very interesting work. And then this is Michael Spence, another one of our new members who is he's actually he's a professional videographer that is now retired, living in Portland. In December, we're going to have a member group show. We're all going to have 1 or 2 or 3 pieces in that show. And I just want to show you a few examples of now these aren't necessarily going to be in the show. These are just examples of the work that these people have done in the past. It's one of our watercolorists. I would drive myself crazy doing something like this. And then in January, we're going to have a regional juried show, and that's going to be advertised through Cafe. I think some of you may be familiar with that website. I think we pay $20 or $35 to apply, and then we have, I think, probably up to about 40 people that'll be included in the show. And again, this is going to be all local artists. So this would be one opportunity for those of you who would like to submit work and get 1 or 2 pieces in our gallery. And in February, we're going to have another one of our artists named Jeff Fox, and he's a painter. And the timing right now for those of you that are thinking about joining a gallery is really good right now. We're taking applications for new membership through December 8th of this year. The info about how to actually apply is on our website. That's the link there, gallery114@pdx.com. And if you look at the membership tab in the upper right, it will give you the parameters about how to apply. And these are some of the basics. Tell us why you'd like to join a gallery, why you would like to particularly join our gallery. You have a resume or a CV that you would include, a statement about the work that you are working on right now. And generally, we like to see 5 to 10 images of your work. And we often also look at an individual's website. So the process that we go through, we look at the applications that people submit, and we interview those that have at least a 50% approval. And then following the interview, we then vote, and we have to have a 2/3 approval for membership. And we strive to have a balance of members between painters, sculptors, photographers, and so forth. So these are the things that we're looking for: consistent and active studio practice, and studios in parentheses, not because you have to have a studio, but really we want people to be serious about the work that they're doing. And, you know, most of you that I know of are very serious about your work. We want to see an ongoing investment in your artistic growth. We had an applicant recently that we did not invite in. He had been a photographer for many years, and he actually had done some amazing work 30 years ago, but he basically hadn't been doing anything recently. So we really felt like he wasn't that serious in growing his practice. Since we're a membership gallery, we're really interested in how people play in the sandbox. We want people that will actually contribute to the work that others are doing and the practice that we're all engaged in. We also want work, obviously, that's exciting and engaging. People have to have a willingness to contribute to the gallery and its membership. And then finally, work is finished and presented in a professional manner. So that's what I have. This is my first show. This is when I did a solo show on self-portraits, which was done, I think, 3 years ago. And with that, I will open it to questions.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mark. We have questions or comments for Mark?
Yeah, I have a question. Hey, Mark, it's Ray.
Hi, Ray.
So it sounds like you got a couple spots that you're going to decide about in December. I mean, people can apply now.
Right.
Right on.
Yeah, and you know, when I say that we want to have a maximum of 18 and we might go to 19, 17 is fine, but we definitely need to have 2 or 3 more members. We've lost a couple because that, again, 2 people moved to North Carolina. We had 1 member die a few months ago, and you know, people just move on. So we really would like to see some fresh work in our gallery and get some new inspiration. And you would be a good person to join,
I
right?
would like, I'm thinking about it. So, but if I'm gone for a month and I miss one of the meetings, that's not the end of the world.
You just have to pay me $50.
Yeah.
No, we certainly understand that. I'm going to be leaving in a few days. I'm going to be gone for a month. You know, if it was, you know, if you're gone all the time, that's an issue. But for example, I can't show up and open the gallery when I'm gone, but I double up the month before and the month after. I do a few extra sittings to kind of make up for it. So that's generally not a problem.
Right on. Okay.
Other questions? Questions, comments?
So, Mark, this is Giannis, and I was kind of curious about, like, besides the brochure that you're in, it's like, what other ways do you promote the gallery?
Well, we're actually looking at expanding that a bit because I think we need to do a better job. The PATA advertisement that you mentioned is a good venue. We have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page, we have a newsletter that goes out to people that sign up when they come into the gallery. Word of mouth is probably the best way, but it's inconsistent. We used to put, I'm going to forget the term, press releases out, but nobody was picking them up because press is not particularly a viable mechanism right now. Advertisement's expensive. And so we're chewing on that because we do want to increase gallery visitation. Right now, before COVID, we were getting 300 to 500 people on first Thursday. That's down to about 200 now, and it's slowly coming back because the Pearl District is slowly coming back. And then the rest of the month, we probably get another 100 to 200 visitors, depending on how well things are promoted. The other thing is that we all individually, when I have my own show, I promote my show as best I can with my friends, my family. You know, I have my own newsletter and so forth. So those are the main ways that we do it, and we also welcome new ideas in terms of advertisement.
Thank you.
Can you expand on when you give up your space to another artist? I didn't quite catch that.
Okay, so I'm assigned a time slot, and I can use the gallery during that time slot any way that I want, basically. As long, I mean, it has to be about art, right? So I could give my entire slot to one individual, to 5 individuals. I could have a guest artist that works with me and we share the space. That's entirely up to me. So that's what I mean by that. And so it becomes, my show becomes it's really my time slot. It isn't necessarily my show. And the member that has to show up right now has given up her entire time slot to other people. She doesn't have one piece in that show, and that's entirely fine. That's unusual, but it's perfectly fine.
Mark, this is Giannis again, and like what kind of sales do you have? And I don't know what way to measure like gallery sales and stuff like that. Like, you know, how many pieces or, you know, how many millions of dollars or you know.
There's so many millions, I can't count them anymore, Giannis.
Yeah. Let me write that down.
Well, you know, it's hard to characterize because it depends a lot on the people that are showing. For example, the present show, I would say 2/3 of the work is not for sale. And that's their right. I mean, that's fine. I personally don't care to, I mean, if I sell a piece of work, that's fine. I don't mind that. But I'm not putting my work up particularly to sell. We have other members that are really concerned or interested in sales, and you know they will often sell quite a few pieces. But it varies. You know, we have shows that don't sell anything. We have shows that sell quite a bit of work. So it's really dependent on the member artist.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for example, if you were to have work there, you would have to decide what you wanted to price it at. And given that, you know, we take the 20% commission, which is lower than most galleries. And then it would be up to you and the people that you draw into the gallery and that we draw into the gallery to make that happen.
Other questions or comments for Mark?
Well, I'm going to come visiting.
Good. Yeah, you know, it would really welcome all of you to come down. First Thursday is a lot of fun, anytime really. And actually, I should mention that if you want a private showing, basically contact one of the members and we'll make that happen. I mean, we're fine to, you know, we'll open it up on Monday or, you know, Wednesday, whatever works for folks. We've had school groups come in during, you know, the non-opening times. So we're really open more than the Thursday through Sunday, in a sense.
Well, great. Well, Mark, thanks so much for coming to speak to us tonight, and thanks to all of our speakers. I hope everyone enjoyed the gallery night. It was kind of a unique idea and something different, and sometimes it's good to do something a little different. So thanks, Mark, and thanks everyone for coming tonight, and we'll hope to see everyone at the print share in November.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.